Harbor Freight 10x20 canopy. I installed mine on a very bad slope, but if you do that, just get these corners, all the bars, the A-frames in the front and back, get them level as you can with a level, and then strap a cable around each corner like so. There's a cable clamp there, and tie it down to a post in the ground, all four corners. You can have a shorter post all the way down to the ground, just barely sticking out if you want, or have it all the way up, or just have it, I don't know, a quarter of the way up or so, like that. And that's what I did, all four corners. And this thing is not going to go anywhere, and it's pulling down the corners, keeping this frame together. And in my next video, which I'll do, is something you can just think of right here. Imagine that being placed up here and pulling the frame together from the cross member up there all the way to the top rail to the center, and then again the other one pulling it inward as well, so they're pulling toward each other, basically keeping this entire structure very solid. And you can add two more from the front all the way down the side to the middle, pulling in together again with this kind of cable, and then again the opposite end, do the same thing with that, which goes down to a post, of course, as you know, all the way to the center. That will keep this thing pulling together and straight down on the ground. There really is nothing that could blow this thing down unless it's a hurricane, and if it's a hurricane, it's gonna probably bend the poles anyway. This is thin gauge metal poles. These are not thick and heavy duty whatsoever. And I bought the sidewall kit, as you see, and I just left off the front door, the rear panel rather, and put on the front door. And at the bottom, anything you can find, stake it down any way you can. I have these little hooks I found that came with the kit. Actually, I'm not using the ones that came with it. What I'm using is, what came with it is this foot stands, and I just, as you see, I put two 12-inch nails on either side of the legs, and screwed with 4 screws the little foot pedestal, and that's pretty strong. You can do that in concrete. I know I'm just doing it in dirt. I'm not concerned with this thing blowing away because I've got this set up here, so this is really going to keep it still and pretty steady and secured. And you can find stakes at the hardware store, like these little stakes, and you stick them in the ground and you just bungee cord the bottoms to them. Here's another temporary tie down that came with it that I'm not using for its purpose because I did a much better job securing it. Over here is just a little hook that came with the kit for the feet that I'm not using, and I'm just doing it like this. This is just odds and ends around the house, basically some rope and some extra bungee that I'm using to keep all the ties down. So this thing's being pulled down, and later on it's going to be pulled together to keep this thing extra strong and sturdy. Put this thing together. When you get the roof done, basically don't do too much of it where you can't flip it around. I build this thing right side up. I don't build it upside down like the instructions show you. That's just not the way I do it, but it looks pretty good. And if you need higher clearance, I have a 7-foot van over there, right there. It actually fits in here perfectly because I have it elevated a little bit because of the feet being raised up a little bit.